Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. Let's talk about inflation. Let's talk about the supply chain. We've been hearing different things from different, resources, voices in the media on economics, talking about, on one hand, they're saying there is basically no inflation, or it's like at maximum 1.9%. Well, what they're talking about there is the core CPI, Consumer Price Index, CPI. The core CPI does not include, it intentionally does not include the cost of fuel, utilities, or food. So, and it also doesn't include the cost of rent or mortgage, what have you. It doesn't include housing, utilities, fuel, or food. The things that we absolutely most need. The places where we are most likely to see an increase in the cost of living, first, foremost, and most dramatically. Meanwhile, other economists that are more realistic have pointed out that we have seen dramatic increases in exactly these things, that are left out of the core CPI. Food has increased by anywhere from 10 to 15% in just the past few months. Fuel, more than 10% a few months ago, before the Colonial Pipeline bullshit happened. I was paying $2.59 a gallon for gas. Now it's $2.89 a gallon. That is over a 10% increase, which happened virtually overnight, and it's not coming back down. Oh, now we're heading into a high demand season. Okay, increased production. I mean, we had a surplus last year so much that they basically had to stop oil production. And now we've got a shortage. They were using pipelines for storage for oil last year, which meant that they couldn't pump more into the pipelines. We had hundreds of tankers sitting offshore that could not offload their cargo. This was just last year. One day last year, oil went negative. The price of oil, of crude oil, went negative. And now, what? All the oil workers haven't been called back to work. Anyway, I pointed out before, we've got a mega drought in the western states, from New Mexico over to California, all the way up to Oregon, that are causing mandatory water restrictions. That means that farmers are going to have to limit their crops if they're able to produce a crop at all. In some southern parts of the southern United States, we are seeing floods from East Texas, across Louisiana and Mississippi, and I'm not sure how far north of that. Floods that are causing delays in planting, that have damaged crops that were already planted. Only a few short weeks ago, we saw weather events that basically destroyed a huge percentage of the winter wheat crop. Meanwhile, other parts of the planet are seeing the return of locust swarms that they had last year in South America, Africa, the Middle East, up to China. Last year, China lost all 3 of their rice crops because of weather events. They also lost most of their corn and wheat crops. This can cause an increase in the price of food because of competition, but that's not because of the price to produce these things. Yes, there's an increased cost in transporting it, but instead, it all comes down to the same thing, but we'll get there. All right, the cost of meat is going to go up. What do chickens and pigs and cattle eat? Crops that are produced for feed. You can't just divert the feed crops over to human consumption because they're different strains of crops that humans cannot digest. You can't just go out there and take that and pick it and eat it. Ethanol crops produced for fuel. Humans cannot eat that. So all of these things are going to go up. Corn has already increased by 50%, which is causing major problems for Mexico, which is having their own weather events which are interfering with their crops. So yeah, we're seeing, and we're going to continue seeing, an increase in the cost of food and fuel and utilities. But what crops are and food are produced? Does a shortage automatically mean an increase in the price? No, it doesn't. The short answer is no, it doesn't. You can see something of an increase, maybe 1 or 2%, because you've got to transport things further. You got corn produced over here in Iowa and no corn being produced in the western states. Well, you're going to transport from Iowa over to the western states. So the increased transportation will cause a marginal increase in price. But it's not 10 to 15%. No, the only thing last year we saw crops being allowed to rot in the fields. We've heard for many years of farmers tilling crops under. Why? To keep the market price on their crops up. So that what they did sell, and in some cases they're paid by the government to do this. And I still don't claim to understand that one. But as far as the farmers doing it themselves, or, certain industries, corn or the corn industry, yes, there's a corn industry, and there are different subsections of a corn industry, and milk and what have you. They will destroy these products just to keep the market price up. Now, I understand if farmers and producers don't want to take less money than it costs them to produce. But right now, there's no danger of that. Last year, there was no danger of that. No, the only reason that we see an increase in the price of goods when there is a shortage is because of capitalism. Because of capitalists. It is capitalist greed. That's all it is. Because these Wall Street traders, the commodities market, they want to make more money off of what there is. These mega corporate farms want to make more money off of what they're selling you because you just can't get it anywhere else. You don't have a choice. You are forced. They are holding your life hostage. Now, if we had a stronger socialist structure to our government, to our economy, this would not be a problem because, you would have price regulations to stop this from happening. We've already seen people, millions, tens of millions of Americans are food insecure. Tens of millions of children go to bed hungry now, and yet the capitalists want to increase the price of food and utilities. This is all capitalist greed and nothing else. So when people start talking about, oh, well, the price is going up because there's a shortage. No, there is not enough of a shortage to be causing a 10 or 15% increase. And even if there was that much of a shortage, that does not cause an increase to produce these things. You don't need more labor. You don't need more fertilizer to produce the same crop on the same field. You don't need more of any of that. It can cost more to get it to the end market, but that isn't much. That does not add up to 15% increase, and we're going to see more of an increase. I expect the cost of food compared to last year to increase by 20% this year. Year over year, at least 20%. Probably more than that if you compare it to 2019. So stop falling for this stuff about, oh, well, I just have to pay more because, well, yeah, you do have to pay more. You don't have a choice. But as far as anybody giving you lies about why, see it for the truth. Speak out. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel. I'm going to be doing a related video just after this. So please stay tuned, and I will catch you in the next one.